Hello, my name is Inés Lozano. I'm a teacher and researcher at the Design School of Universitat Polytechnic de Valencia, and today we're going to talk about how to make good presentation slides. So, follow me here. The goals of this material is first to outline the main principles regarding effective visual communication in presentation slides and to provide 5 tips to create visually and narratively efficient presentation slides. So the contents of this material will be the following. There will be an introduction, 5 tips. Tip 1, use simple backgrounds. Tip 2, avoid distracting slide transitions. Tip 3, use reader-friendly fonts. Tip 4, use images. And tip 5, avoid having too much text. And then we will wrap up with some conclusions. So, some food for thought. Give a thought to these questions. What do you think makes an image efficient? Is it the color? Is it the shape? Is it the brightness? Is it the size? What is it? What is for you visually interesting and powerful? Now, what makes visual support in presentations effective? Do you ever think about this when you're putting together the slides of your PowerPoint or Prezi or Canva? How can you make your visual support good enough to captivate your audience? And finally, have you ever thought about the factors you should take into account when preparing your slides? Let's look at 5 tips. The first tip is to use simple backgrounds. In communication, be it verbal, visual, or even multimodal, which is a combination of both, the simpler, the more effective. This is why you should avoid backgrounds that have prints, images, effects that may distract your audience and thus hinder the understanding of the text. Imagine my presentation was bright pink. Imagine my presentation had glitter and stars, or it had loads of waves in the background, or it had a picture of a family of horses just underneath the text. So please do avoid bright colors. Instead, go for soft tone, pastels, plain backgrounds. Make sure that is easy and visually clear in order for your audience to have the same feeling. Tip number 2 is to avoid distracting slide transitions. I think we have all toyed with transitions when we started using PowerPoint, with like stars coming from one side and then the slides open up or they melt into the next one. This, however, is not very effective. So, slide transitions are an important part of guiding your audience. Thus, choose simple transitions and use one single transition type. Please do not combine loads of different types of transitions because transitions are a means of going to the next idea, not a way of drawing your audience's attention to that specific aspect of your presentation. Tip number 3 is to use reader-friendly fonts. Just like in the backgrounds and also the transitions, the fonts that we use play an important role in endowing our presentation with a specific identity. So try to go for fonts that are easy to read. And I suggest Calibri or Times New Roman or Futura or Arial or Avenir, because you can try to pair your font choice with the content of your presentation. For example, you may use Times New Roman for more academic presentations, or Futura, like I did, for presentations that are aimed at a wider audience. Bear in mind, the form goes hand in hand with the content. Slides, backgrounds, fonts are totally part of the form, which you can use to reinforce your content. Tip number 4 is to use images. It is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Make sure that is the case in your presentation as well. Images are effective, they're powerful narrative resources, so please do use them wisely. Thus, I think you could perhaps pick meaningful images that convey information. Images that you will know for sure will draw the attention of your audience and will convey meaning and information. In this regard, please avoid using too many images in one single slide because your audience will be distracted and will not know what to do, where to look. So please keep images simple as well. The last tip number 5, is to avoid having too much text. Because sometimes we have the tendency of using our slides as a notebook, which is, however, a big mistake. Slides can be useful for us to not get lost, but they're mainly a way of displaying the content to the audience, so please do not take them as your notes instead of having a piece of paper to look at. Slides should only contain key ideas or keywords rather than long paragraphs, which will be very slow to read and very distracting. Avoid long paragraphs where the audience's attention will be directed towards reading rather than towards paying attention to what you are saying. So, as a way of conclusion, it is extremely important to create effective visual support to your presentation. Presentation slide should then be simple, efficient, and go to the point. You should avoid cramming slides with text or images, as well as using fonts that are difficult to read. Transitions should be consistent and smooth rather than distracting and flashy. And background should be discreet and to function as reinforcement to the text and images. Thank you.